Hello, we're Group 8. My name's Gunnar. You also see Rain, Peyton, and Chi. And today we'll be talking about Microsoft's acquisition of LinkedIn. And here's kind of just a little bit of information for how much it was and a little bit more on what we're going to talk about. Starting with our outline with industry level analysis, we'll start with the five forces in an industry position. Then on the company level analysis with resources and capabilities and competitive advantages. And then we'll go to rationale for the acquisition. We're kind of explain the risks and comparisons among alternatives, and then have a conclusion. And now I'll be talking about Porter's 5 competitive sources, starting off with competition in the industry. Intense rivalry within this industry, multitudes of worthy rivals. In today's electronics is highly competitive regardless of Microsoft being a power and a pioneer within the industry. And next is potential of new entrants into the industry. And there are high entry barriers that make it hard for new entrants due to this being a capital intensive industry. You have to have a lot of money and a lot of capital, like I say, to really be able to compete and even just to really enter this industry and developing and designing enterprise softwares, hard and expensive. And there's not a lot of people that truly have the proper knowledge to enter and compete within this industry. And next is power suppliers. There's a vast number of suppliers, which puts them at a disadvantage. Software is an intangible product that's made in-house. Therefore, companies don't really have many suppliers within the industry, and bargaining power suppliers is low against Microsoft. And power of customers, customers have very little power due to small number of operators. There's a switching cost. When consumers move on from Microsoft to a competitor, they become fluent in Microsoft, and trying to learn a whole new software is tough. And the time it takes to do that is costly for somebody within this industry or somebody trying to use this type of equipment. And threat of substitute products. Most operators make similar products and try to imitate one another, which does actually make it a true threat to Microsoft.
Why Microsoft? I'm going to talk about the strategic group, competitors, and position. So number one, strategic group. Microsoft Office acquired LinkedIn with the intention to establish a strong and defensible industry position where competitors can't compete away this data advantage. Their strategic position was differentiation, which puts an emphasis on the rebranding of Microsoft as it includes a new data set in their products. This powerful combination of LinkedIn data and Microsoft sales tech, that is when we get this synergy of technology. This enhances the service and quality that consumers will experience as it is an all-in-one platform. Next, competitors. Actually, Salesforce was a part of negotiation with LinkedIn for months. What they did is they feared that the combination of Microsoft and LinkedIn would create this anti-competitive practice. So this just goes to show how powerful this combination is. The competitive fears them joining forces. Now we look at the strength of Microsoft's competitive position. Why did LinkedIn choose them? Well, mainly because of a unique and diversifying combination. So number one, prominence. Office is on almost every computer, 1.2 billion Office users worldwide. This just tells us how common the Microsoft platform is. LinkedIn's data becoming a defining characteristic of Microsoft products increases the relevance as well. So Microsoft incorporating LinkedIn offers a more unique and competitive product that no one can mimic. Next, privacy for both clients and consumers. There is a potential Azure integration, which is basically Microsoft's cloud-based service. So due to the amount of scandals because of a lack of security in products, LinkedIn users will be satisfied knowing that their information will be secure. Next, the security under Microsoft. Now that they've been acquired, LinkedIn benefits as it focuses long-term instead of just quarter-to-quarter revenue. They mentioned that had LinkedIn stayed or went public by themselves, the lows in the revenues may have changed the way investors look to the company and may have had a potential negative impact. And then lastly, leverage and growth. The combination of products offers a leverage as it keeps LinkedIn at the top of professional social networking. And Microsoft now is the only company that gets to provide their data into their products. This enhances both positions and prevalence.
So now I'll be talking about Microsoft's resources and capabilities. We can first do a VRIN analysis of Microsoft's RNC to bring about and understand the importance of them. So V stands for value, R for rare, I for imitable, and N for non-substitutable. First, its brand is one of the most valuable resources it owns, with its brand recognized globally. It has also invested a lot in its company culture, which its CEO has stressed as one of the factors contributing to its success. As a result, it has a good retention rate, which also ties into the third resource, human capital. However, we see here that its human capital is imitable and also substitutable. We see this from the fact that new employees are hired from time to time and others move on to other firms, which suggests that they aren't exactly irreplaceable. Lastly, its strong financial capital is also key for securing future M&A deals and also other plans of diversification. In terms of its capabilities, Microsoft's supplier relationship is highly efficient and is equipped with a global distributive system, making it valuable, rare, imitable, and also non-substitutable. Microsoft's Windows OS is also highly compatible with many third parties, making it one of a kind. And lastly, it continues to dominate the market with its Office 365 capabilities. Again, all these explanations are further elaborated in the notes in the presentation. And just to recap, Microsoft's resources and capabilities are very well-rounded. And next, we will see how Microsoft leverages some of these RNC to power its sustainable competitive advantages. In terms of its competitive advantages, we can start with its wide range of products, which is continuing to expand. The Microsoft Office is a productivity suite, including software like Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, and several more softwares that help professionals and businesses around the world increase their productivity. This is further exemplified in the 2016 acquisition of LinkedIn that my teammates will explore later. Moving on to mergers and acquisitions, this also ties back to its financial resources that it has, which has allowed it to grow, increase its capabilities, diversify, and also increase its synergies through M&A. Microsoft's brand is both a resource and a competitive advantage. It achieves this through its pricing strategy, marketing, and also corporate social responsibility. Next, global presence is also a sustainable competitive advantage for Microsoft, and this comes from its global offices, distribution channel, and also its sales force. And lastly, Microsoft has continued to bank on its financial capital to invest in R&D, focusing on innovation. So this is especially critical with how fast-paced the tech industry is moving. And again, its product range, merger and acquisitions, brand, global presence, and innovation are what makes Microsoft stand out from its competitors. And now, Rain will dive into the strategic rationale behind the acquisition of LinkedIn.
Okay, now we understand the industry challenges and the features of two companies. Let's shift our focus to the acquisition itself. First, let's talk about pros and cons of the acquisition. So as for pros, the most important point is growth acceleration. Microsoft has reached its relatively mature stage of life cycle, and incorporating fast-growing LinkedIn will definitely help to boost the growth rate of the business. And second, stepping into the professional network software market will give Microsoft a huge diversification benefit. By expanding its business scope, it will be able to stay more flexible, facing fast-changing customers' demand and preferences, and retain its leadership position in the industry. And the third benefit is synergies. For the revenue side, it creates a lot of opportunities to do cross-selling and upselling because both companies have a large customer base. And for the cost synergies, they can reduce a lot of transaction costs. For example, LinkedIn can easily leverage Microsoft's Azure to do cloud computing. The fifth benefit is innovation and product enhancement. It will help increase customers' experience and satisfaction, and in consequence, help to increase customer loyalty. And the last benefit is about reputation and connection. By including Hoffman, who's almost the most popular person in Silicon Valley, into Microsoft's system, will help Microsoft to turn its old brand image and reputation of not valuing cooperation and not valuing technology innovation. So for cons, just as any other acquisition, this move bears risks such as overpaying, synergies not materializing, talent leaves, integration costing too much money and time, trade-off from growth and size, potential opposition from competitors, and mixed results from past acquisitions. After analyzing the pros and cons, we can see that the benefits of collaborating with LinkedIn is very obvious. So what kind of collaboration method will we should choose? So what we did next is to analyze 5 aspects from synergies to competition among 3 different collaboration methods, including acquisition, equity alliance, and non-equity alliance. And we compared the results to the benchmark chart and found out that we agree that acquisition is a better choice. So what happened after acquisition? What they did in 3 aspects. So for organization, LinkedIn stayed as a relatively independent entity, and for management, Winner retained his important leadership position in LinkedIn and also report to Microsoft. And for business, they did not do the bundle selling of products just as their competitors expected, but they increased the integration of different product lines. And the results turned out great. So now LinkedIn is one of the biggest business of Microsoft, and Microsoft has increased its revenue and profit dramatically after acquisition, with a CAGR increasing from less than 10% to around 30% now. So what's our overall assessment and our conclusion? Let's welcome Peyton.
And lastly, our conclusion. As we finalize our summary and overall rating of this strategic decision on behalf of both Microsoft and LinkedIn, we wanted to note that this is a great opportunity from the get-go. As mentioned in the rationale section, we have a number of reasons why this potential synergistic and differentiating combination would be a beneficial move for both companies. Now that we have the results and can see the growth of both firms, we can prove that it was as good as it looked. So number 1, it created long-term value. Microsoft said that LinkedIn's quarterly advertising revenue surpassed $1 billion for the first time in the recent quarter, up 97% from last year's quarter. What we've seen is advertisers shifting from their spending from Facebook to LinkedIn. 5 years after Microsoft bought LinkedIn for $26 billion, they surpassed $10 billion annual revenue for the first time. Now, diversification through acquisition. Microsoft has been making acquisitions throughout the years in order to extend their reach and prevalence in the market, as mentioned earlier with references to other M&A deals. And lastly, competitive advantage. As we saw with Salesforce, the main competitor in the acquisition process, they were fearful of anti-competitive practices. Once again, that just shows the enhancement of capabilities and resources for the acquisition of LinkedIn. All this to say that this is an incredible merger with even more value to be created in the future. Thank you.